corruption in boxing here. So Naoya Inoue absolutely annihilates Puerto Rican Emmanuel Rodriguez and dethrones him of his IBF 118 pounds World Championship in a spectacular performance yesterday in Scotland, which was part of the semi-final of the World Boxing Super Series. The Puerto Rican Rodriguez, I felt he lost because of his arrogance. Some people can say he was confident in terms of standing in the middle of the ring and trading with the monster. But it wasn't a wise strategy. Inoue, who has a lot of technical, I think, fundamental issues in that when he punches, he always has to step in first of all. To come into range, he won't throw punches from a stationary position without moving his legs. He will step in with the left foot, then come with his jab and his right hand. But he comes in with those punches with some velocity. Now, Rodriguez really had to box from range. He had to move his feet. He had to force Inoue to step in with his punches. And Rodriguez likes to counter with the right hand and the left hook. And he's a very accurate puncher who finds his timing very early in all of his previous fights. But he believed in his ability, and he felt he could exchange with Inoue in the middle of the ring without even moving at all. So the two of them very early were trading right hands. Rodriguez was landing his right hand, Inoue was landing his 1-2. The speed, the velocity through the punches was definitely exuded by Inoue, who is an explosive puncher. Defensively, Inoue, although he may operate with a guard, but it's not a very active guard. He will take a lot of punches flush. So defensively, he's not very good at all. He's essentially an offensive juggernaut who relies on his aggression and his punches. Does have good footwork as well. So the first round was relatively even. Inoue may have landed the harder punches, one left hand to the body as well. But Rodriguez was more than competitive, didn't show any visible signs of being hurt. Although you could see one straight right hand which literally pierced his guard, sort of, snapped his head back a little bit. Round 2, both fighters occupied the middle of the ring again. Given that Rodriguez wasn't moving, side to side backward, so Inoue didn't really have to step in with his punches, and when he steps in it can be relatively telegraphed, and that's the best way to counter him. So Rodriguez threw right hand, threw his jab, threw a right hand, but Inoue came back with a peach of a left hook, long left hook. He didn't really have to move his body, just swiveled slightly, from his sort of hips, shoulders to get a bit of torque on the punch. But it was so quick that Rodriguez didn't see it, so it wasn't telegraphed. The speed, through the punch combined with Inoue's heavy hands, the heavy knockdown. Rodriguez rose. Inoue immediately came in once the referee dusted off Rodriguez's gloves. He saw an opportunity just to finish him off, came back, tried a chopping uppercut, but it was the body shot, crisp shot to the body. Rodriguez went down heavy again. The writing was pretty much on the wall. He turned around, looked at his corner, visible signs of pain on his face, got up. Referee allowed him to continue. Inoue went in and just finished him off, a couple more punches. Rodriguez really never recovered after the first left hook. So yeah, Rodriguez was whatever, a plus 600 for the match betting, but on points he was a plus 900. And that is why speed and power. When you have power, that is more than sufficient, but if it's the velocity in which the speed in which the kinetic energy travels combined with the power, that's a very difficult proposition to try and mitigate. I felt Rodriguez had the boxing ability, but can you criticize a man for believing in his ability to say, look, I'm the better fighter, I'm going to stand here, I'm going to trade with you, I've got the firepower, I've got the skill to do so. But no, I'm sorry, but that was stupidity on the part of Rodriguez. He's an efficient boxer. He's probably the better counter-puncher as well. He's not a high-volume puncher at all. Nor is Rodriguez somebody who fights really at short range. Up against previous fight, Maloney, he was having trouble, and Rodriguez tends to hold on the inside to smother the attacks of his opponent, so he needs space to operate. So, a rude awakening for him. Had he boxed, he would have had a much better chance. He should have forced Inoue to make mistakes, try and set traps, and then work off his beautiful combinations. Certainly that he slips the jab, comes over with that right hand and finishes it off with the left of the body. His left hook is one of the better punches in boxing as well. But a harsh lesson for him. He's still young. I'm sure he can come back. But Inoue moves over to the final now to take on the legend of the division, Nonito Donaire from the Philippines. A fight that's been talked about for the last sort of 3-4 years. Inoue was coming up from junior flyweight when Donaire was already operating at super bantamweight. Inoue was on a fast track to move up through the weights, so the two of them now meet. I'm not sure where the final is going to be contested, but Donaire certainly has the power at his optimum weight, 118 pounds. The taller man, the bigger man, still has wonderful accuracy and timing. Two of his best attributes, combined with power in the left hook, a good straight right hand as well. Has the experience, very good ring IQ. Definitely won't underestimate Inoue as Rodriguez may have done. Maybe not underestimating him, but far too confident in your own ability. So there's a little bit of naivety in what I think he executed. So we'll await the final. Anyway, those are my thoughts. in a way, where is his place now in terms of the pound for pound that everybody is obsessed with? Some people seem to think that he's fought nobody up until now, but they've never really seen Inoue before. They've not been up on Fuji TV to watch some of his early fights when he was campaigning at a junior flyweight up against Adrian Hernandez. He also was the first man to inflict a defeat on Ryuichi Taguchi at junior flyweight. Taguchi, who after his defeat went back and became a unified junior flyweight champion and the Ring Magazine champion. So this nonsense theory that he hasn't beaten anybody, was the first man to stop Omar Narvaez as well, long-standing world champion. Narvaez had never been dropped, amateur or professional, before Inoue destroyed him, moving up 2 weights from junior flyweight to super flyweight. Narvaez may have been in his 40s, but he was a very good, slick southpaw boxer, and that is the reason why he was able to box throughout the amateurs and the professional ranks without being stopped or even dropped. And Inoue showed different levels in that fight. The 4 knockdowns were all different in the way he had executed. Body shots, straight right hands, cutting off the ring, tapping his elbow, and then coming back with vicious liver shots to finish him off. So that was a coming out performance. Inoue has blown through pretty much all of the old Japanese guard as well. Jamie McDonald after, and Payano, former champions. And now Rodriguez, an undefeated world champion in his prime, not been defeated before. Seasoned, but so he's in there for the discussions. I wouldn't say Inoue deserves a place in the top half of the pound for pound, but maybe between 7 and 10, given that he's a freeweight world champion as well. But most of the boxing community out there, they see no credibility in the lower weight classes. I heard one of the most ridiculous theories from a guy, Moy Boren 74, who totally dismissed smaller fighters, and he stipulated that because they're so small, they've got no strength, no power, they cannot secure jobs within the building industry. So hence why they, especially from the poorest of the countries around the world, and that is why they have no choice but to prize fight for survival. So therefore the ranks are just assimilated with rejects from the economy who just fight. These are the sort of absolutely nonsensical theories that are just proliferated around the boxing community. You don't really appreciate the quality and diversity of the lower weight categories. I think the junior flyweight, 108 pounds, is the deepest and the strongest in boxing. I've already posted a video articulating my reasons, so I suggest you watch that. People are under the assumption that the attritional punches, they have to throw 50, 60, 70 punches per round just to break down the opponent, but you've seen it with Inoue, his ability to effectively end the fight with one punch. And there are others in in the lower weight categories who are able to do exactly the same. Puerto Rican Angel Acosta at junior flyweight is exactly the same. He's effectively knocked out everybody apart from one defeat up against the great Kosei Tanaka. Another fighter who's just totally overlooked, not even mentioned on the pound for pound. And he's already a free divisional champion. Felix Alvarado, another great puncher as well. And we've seen that super flyweight, what fighters like Sarisa get so wrong with the power he has as well. So loaded divisions. So anyway, didn't really want to digress, but Inoue definitely makes a statement on the Zone, on Sky Sports. So he got a massive global audience. 2 Japanese crews were in Scotland as well covering the fight. So at least, his performance and his name is being reverberated around the boxing community, which is good to see. So those are my quick post-fight thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. Corruption in boxing. I'm out.